Hey guys, welcome back to Telltale. I'm Emily.
I'm Greg.
And we are going to be going through Philip K. Dick's Piper in the Woods. So this was a really interesting read. It's another one of his short stories. Which year is this?
This is still 1953.
1953
was an extremely busy year for him.
Cranking him out.
He did more individual stories that year than any other year of his career. Mm-hmm. But they were all shorter works. Mm-hmm. Short stories, novelettes. Mm-hmm. No novels yet. It wasn't until 55 that he published a novel.
Okay.
So this one, February 1953, published in a little-known magazine called Popular Science Fiction. Mm-hmm. It was only their second issue. Mm-hmm. So I'll take a stab at the synopsis. Mm-hmm. I have a very simple synopsis. A space patrolman is convinced that he has become a plant. Mm-hmm. And a psychiatrist is asking him about this, asking, why do you think you're a plant? You know, mm-hmm. The guy sounds totally bonkers.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, another space patrolman shows up believing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then a few more come in. And they're all coming from the same moon, based mm-hmm. on one of the moons of Saturn or Jupiter, I forget which. Mm-hmm. They're all coming with, and this is 1953. Okay, we didn't know that all these moons were basically airless, and mm-hmm. So this particular moon is imagined by Philip Dick to have a whole ecosystem with forests mm-hmm. and people,
water, life.
Indigenous people living there mm-hmm. in the woods. And so the psychiatrist goes to investigate this mm-hmm. and find out what's going on. And so the first thing he does is he goes out to talk to these people in the woods. Mm-hmm. And we're going to spoil this one again. So
Spoiler
if you've
alert.
never read it, stop here and move on to our
It's a quick
criticism.
read, too. It'll take you, less than an hour.
Yeah, it's a short
Way
story.
less than an hour, yeah.
But it's got a really, really interesting concept. And I pulled a quote that I think sums it up. Mm-hmm. It's a conversation between two characters. They have, and this is the human beings. Mm-hmm. They have to trade. They have to get minerals and products and new plants. Why? To keep society going. Why? Well, Harris gestures, people couldn't live without society.
Yeah.
That kind of sums up the point of the story. Mm-hmm. And that is, and a lot of people today, I think, will sympathize with this. Mm-hmm. We work and work and work, and for what? We make somebody else a lot of money.
Yes.
And we live our lives unhappy and poor, and always mm-hmm. wishing we had a better life of some sort.
Yes.
What happens with these people is they decide to basically just drop out.
Yeah. And it's not even that they decide to drop out. They encounter these beings in the woods who teach them how. Mm-hmm. As they put it. Or at least one of them cracks enough to say, we were taught how to become plants.
Yeah.
And it's this culture in the woods that allegedly taught them, or some beings in the woods, and it called the Pipers, mm-hmm. that taught them how to become plants. Mm-hmm. And when they became plants, all their issues and problems just melted away. All they did is lay in the sunshine, and when it was dark outside, they'd go to sleep, and we're in like a catatonic sleep for the rest of the night until the sun came out again.
Now that part of it I thought was a little bit extreme. Mm-hmm. Because if all you do is lay in the sun all day, you got to eat something. Mm-hmm. Got to go to the bathroom once in a while. That's how our bodies are built. We aren't quite plants. So we could maybe have a more idyllic world mm-hmm. where our labors are towards what we really love and what we really want mm-hmm. instead of towards these machinations that... Mm-hmm. Everybody does because everybody has to.
Yeah, you do it because you have to, because you have no choice, because you need the insurance and the money.
Yeah.
Welcome to capitalism. Anyway, mm-hmm. So yes, this is actually a really interesting... What I appreciated about this is that it's almost anti-capitalist without being pro-communist, which a lot of people often immediately think of when they think of anti-capitalism, but they don't realize there are a lot of economic structures that are not communism that are very compatible with capitalism that could work. This is not one of them. Everybody just quitting their jobs and becoming plants isn't exactly the best plan for commerce and capitalism in its construct. But here we are. And I really liked that, though, that this was a very playful way of being anti-capitalist in a way. And just having a social commentary on the lack of work-life balance that the typical 40-hour week gives you. Mm-hmm. And trying to counterbalance that with, what if there's an extreme where we take this question of, what if people do just get burned out? What happens if they do just get burned out and stop working?
Well, I think we've been seeing that in our society lately. All the people who have, because of COVID, they were laid off from work and they haven't gone back to work because they're asking themselves questions of, why are we doing this? Why are we working for these people, making all this money and getting nowhere? And then we run into this where we're possibly going to die and we are out of work anyway, not getting any money except from the government. Why is it like this?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are opting not to go back to work. It's kind of the same idea here.
Yes, it is. And it's not just the burnout. It is also the still not so sure of how secure and safe. There is a fear there, which in this scenario too, there's this fear of, what if I didn't make it though? In one of the concepts that he was discussing, he's like, I did all these things, I went to school, I did all this, and for what? Like, what if tomorrow could be all just gone? And it's, just, and then the stress happened, and then it was like, when I encountered a possibility of getting out of it, I was taught how to be a plant. Kind of thing. So I like that concept, and I like to, like, as you were saying too, it's not so much that people don't want to work. It is that people don't want to be exploited for no good reason. They want to be a part of something bigger. They want their work to be
good about the work
they want
doing.
it to be meaningful. They want their life to have meaning. And if you have a job that doesn't feel meaningful, then what's the point of having it in the first place?
Exactly.
Which is exactly what he was saying. He's like, I did all this stuff to be, to be a part of this team that helped, collect resources from this planet. But for what? What's it really doing?
Yeah.
Earth has resources. Other planets have resources. Like, why is my job so dang important if I'm just another cog in the wheel? So it's really, really, and it's still relevant. 50s to now, still relevant, still a problem. Probably a little bit worse, I would say now, because back then you could pay for your whole family to live pretty well on one income. It's very difficult to do that now.
It's hard to do it on two incomes.
Yeah, it's even hard. Yeah, my husband and I both work. 2 incomes. Technically 3 because I have multiple jobs. But, like, a lot of different incomes coming in, and it's still very difficult, especially when you have health issues, if you have, pets, if you own a home versus renting. Neither construct is great. So it's very relevant still, even to this day, of people who are dealing with the burnout and pressure of being in a very competitive, high intensity, go, always be busy, always be productive, your worth is rooted in your productivity kind of culture.
And you surprised me with this one. After I read it, I knew you hadn't read it yet. I was just expecting that when you read it, I was going to get some kind of message like, I'm a plant.
Yeah, I'm a plant. I'm a plant. And it's not very clear if they were actually taught how to be plants or if this is just something everybody devised.
No, I thought it said that they were taught by these
they were taught by these forest people
how to be a plant.
Yes, that there were others besides the forest people, though. So the pipers, we never actually encounter what the pipers are.
Okay.
And we don't know that they were actually taught to be a plant, or if they were just taught to ask questions, and then the suggestion was posed, then why not just become a plant at that point? It's never clear how this happens. But, spoiler alert, it also ends up happening to the psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated, because I would have made it feel like maybe they weren't just taught and suggested to be plants. Like, why don't you just go do this? Or why, it wasn't something that was planned. It's literally a symptom of having encountered whatever this being in the woods, the pipers, whatever they are in the woods. And this is actually a symptom.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
So it was a very interesting, very different story. Very good, though. I think I would recommend. I'm not sure I would call it a top tale because
No, I wouldn't call
it
this
was
a top tale. It was
too
enjoyable.
really to quite make it that far, but definitely enjoyable. And I would recommend people reading it
Yeah.
who want to learn more about Philip K. Dick and where he got his later ideas.
Definitely an interesting social commentary too. I like that kind of stuff that makes you think deeply about what happens.
In most of his stories, Dick was reacting to the political situations in his world in the early 1950s, mainly the Cold War and the McCarthyism that was going on.
Yep.
And that is reflected in almost everything he writes.
Yeah. And he does a really good job of poking at the question playfully and with very interesting concepts and themes. So, yeah, I definitely think this is a good recommendation. Again, not a top tale, but definitely enjoyable. Definitely a fun social commentary.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about it.
Me too.
All right. Thanks
So-
for joining us, guys. Well,
Come back, like us, and subscribe us. Leave comments. What if you read the story? What did you think about it? And come back for our next tale. What is our next?
let's
So,
have a look.
yeah.
Let us consult the scrolls.
Consult the website.
Yeah.
Roog. I know somebody
Roog.
who's been waiting for this one.
Yes. The Roog.
Yeah. So that'll be our next Philip K. Dick video.
All right.
That's all for now.
Yep.
So long.
So long.